Assalamualaikum, my friend.
Today,
We want to present topic about
let's get started. The Honorable Mr. and Madam Speaker, distinguished guests, fellow students, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I would like to welcome all panelists and attendees to this prestigious webinar about home learning or online classes during pandemic. I am ANITH ALAWIYAH Manggau, and it is my pleasure to be moderator for this webinar. Before the webinar begins, allow me to introduce the panelists of this webinar. Our first panel is Mrs. SITI MAISARAH NASUHA binti MOHAMAD. She is a lecturer from UiTM Dungun, Terengganu. Welcome, Mrs. MAISARAH, to this outstanding webinar.
Thank you, Ms. ANITH, for inviting me.
You are welcome. All right. Our second webinar panel is Mr. HANIWIJAYA bin ABDUL RASHID. He is a teacher from SMK Cemara, Sarawak. How are you, Mr. HANIWIJAYA?
Hello, hello everyone. I'm fine and thank you for having me.
Glad to hear that, Mr. Now, we move to our young and smart panel, Ms. Aini binti Abdul JAMIL, head student from SMK Megat Dewa, Kedah. How do you feel today, young lady?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you.
You are welcome. Last but not least, panel is Madam Ethel, Chriseve Manggau anak EDWIN, mother for Ms. Aini. Welcome, Madam Ethel, to this splendid webinar.
Greetings everyone and our audience. Thanks Ms. ANITH for inviting me into this webinar.
You're all welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, for your information, if the audience has any question or queries that you would like to ask the panel, you can ask in this chat room. Your questions will be asked during the question and answer session at the end of the webinar. Thank you. Everyone, so now we already knew our panelist who is wise and present to talk about this topic today, which is home learning or online classes during pandemic. Besides, as we know, for this time being, COVID-19 pandemic has caused the whole world to work and study at home. I'm sure they'll be facing challenges and obstacles in implementing all of this. Without further ado, I would like to ask our first panel, Mrs. SITI MAISARAH NASUHA. Is there any benefit regarding home learning or online classes during pandemic to students and lecturers? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mrs. SITI MAISARAH. The floor is yours.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. Thank you, Ms. ANITH, for the great question. Online education enables the teachers and the students to set their own learning pace, and there's the added flexibility of setting a schedule that fits everyone's agenda. We have mentioned before how flexibility can help you to set your own study pace, but online education is flexible for each student's individual requirements and level of ability. Online classes tend to be a smaller than conventional class size. Most of the time, online learning platforms only allow one student at the time. And in almost all cases, this allows for greater interaction and more feedback between you and your tutor. There's often access to very diverse material like videos, photos, and ebooks online as well. And tutor can also integrate other formats like forum or discussions. It's to improve their lessons. Its extra content is available at any moment from anywhere, which will offer you a more dynamic and tailor-made education. Study online requires certain skills such as self-discipline, self-motivations, and also communications. As we know, online learning requires students to get online login to certain websites for their lectures, assignments, and queries. The internet in itself is also a temptation for a wastage of time. They also have a lot of TV shows, games, and many other disturbing things. A student vulnerable to all bad and mischievous distraction which is not inside the boundaries of school and universities. To overcome this problem needs to be self-disciplined for online learning. It is not difficult to follow the discipline that you are imposing on your own self. Alright, I hope my speech answered the question. That's all from me. Thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you very much, Mrs. MAISARAH. What an amazing speech from our panel. I do believe all the opinions that Mrs. MAISARAH has listed about is able to serve as a guide. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's move to our second panel, which is Mr. HANIWIJAYA. We know that teachers are the most important person to make sure students keep learning no matter what situation to ensure that they do not fall behind in learning. So what are the challenges that you as a teacher face during your online classes that you conducted? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. HANIWIJAYA.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Aini, our moderator for today. Assalamualaikum and good evening to all audience. Talk about challenges. Honestly, there are many challenges that teacher face during online class. Here are some challenges that I can say. Firstly, teacher had to give some advice to student. If we at school, teachers can give advice or any instruction very clearly to student at any time. Indirect, but it not in the online class. In online class, it depend on the readiness for the student. From various aspect, which is readiness for device, internet data, and their own motivation. Other than that, teacher had to monitor discipline and student focus. Student might open two screen in one time, which is one for online class and one for playing online video game. For information, this is confession from themselves. The student pretend to join the class, but actually they are not focusing during the online class. From this, clear show that the student not disciplined and automatically they are not focused at all. This happened to all teacher right now. And then if at school, uh, also teacher can know who skip in the class because the student are still in the area school, and the student can be detected immediately. But when online class, nothing teachers can do if the student not join the class. For sure, teacher cannot go to the student house to ask them to join the class. Indeed not. So I think I answered the question. That's all from me. Thank you. Back to the moderator.
You are welcome. Thank you for your explanation, Mr. HANIWIJAYA. Let's give a big round of applause for Mr. HANIWIJAYA. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ms. Nur Aini, our third panel. Just now, we have heard the explanation from the point of view of a teacher. Now we want to hear the point of view from a school student. Ms. Nur Aini, I want to ask you about, for the perspective as a student, what are the benefits that you gain through online classes? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Nur Aini.
Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon. Okay. First of all, I would like to thanks to moderator, panel and audience for letting me speak at this webinar. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit nervous because this is my first time at this webinar. Okay, without further ado, from my perspective technical skill, learning online can help the student hone the technical skill that we need on the job. New skills include the ability to use a new software, perform in a deep research online, and communicate effectively in various formats such as discussion by using a formal and non-formal. Nowadays, employers often demand this skill as many positions requires their employer to work remotely. Learning online classes also can prepare myself to get a better job and improve them with the skill that I have that other doesn't have. Okay, the second is flexible schedule and environment. This is the best for me as a student because we can choose our own environment that the best for you to study. We can see everywhere that we feel comfortable. Okay, classes can be conducted at any time and anywhere without worrying a lot. Having more time to rest and play. Sometimes having too much classes will make us as a student tired. That's why we need a rest and can play sometime to relax. That's all for me. Thank you.
You are welcome, Miss Nur Aini. Such an inspiration speech from my perceptions. Maybe some of the benefits that have been listed by Miss Nur Aini a moment ago can be used as a guide for all students out there who are listening to this webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move to our last panel for this first slot, which is Madam Ethel. Now, may I ask you, Madam Ethel, as a parent, what do you think about online classes and how do you help your children with their studies at home? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Madam Ethel. The floor is yours.
Okay, greetings everyone, and thanks to Miss ANITH, our moderator for today's webinar. Okay, first of all, I would like to say that this pandemic 19 that we face since last year is really extremely hard for us, either teachers, students, or even the workers. Back to the question posed by Miss Anit just now. I didn't see that online classes as a bad thing or anything that can bring deficit to everyone. Instead of that, I think that online classes is a good approach for the teachers in helping their students with their studies. We also know that studies is really important for the students in order to achieve their dreams in life. If I want to give a opinion on the benefit of online studies is that through PDPR, which is known as online learning in Malaysia, we can see that the parents can spend some quality time with their children. This is because me myself as a housewife has experienced and saw everything by myself. I can spend more time with my children if I want to compare with before because I don't know how to help them with their studies. And I can see that the teachers also have a lot of alternatives to help their students. Instead of having some internet connection among the students, we can see that the teachers also take an initiative to record the classes and forward the video to the students, or some of them even post the learning materials to the students so that they didn't leave behind in their studies. I can see that it is really important for the teachers, parents, and the students to keep on communicate with each other in order to help the online classes that that has been conducted during this pandemic when well. That's all from me. Thank you. Back to Miss Anit.
Thank you so much for the sharing just now. For what has been shared by Madam Ethel just now, there is a lot of main point that we can see how positive she is about the online classes that have been practicing in our country since last year. And Madam Ethel, you are such a lovely mother. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's move back to Mrs. MAISARAH. In your opinion, how can online education able to help students with their studies and daily life? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mrs. MAISARAH.
Okay, thank you again, Miss ANITH, for the questions. In my opinion, online education enables you to study from anywhere in the world. That means there's no need to commute from one place to another or follow a rigid schedule. Not only you save the time, but you can also save the money, which is it can be spent on other priorities. The virtual classroom is also available everywhere. There's an internet connection. And it's also a good way to take advantage of this to travel. For example, if you are studying abroad and want to get a job, online education is a big choice. There's no reason to give up on working or studying while exploring something new. Next, studying online also give you more flexibility. You can work and fit your work schedule around your coursework. It more easily, especially um, for those who active in online business. Even more if you are taking an synchronized class, an online class where you don't have to log in at a specific time for a live session, but you can study and interact with your instructor and your fellow classmates at your own pace through. For example, I give the discussion forum. By the time you finish your online course, you will have gained more work experience and learn new skills that will help you to advance in your career. That's all. Thank you.
You are welcome, and thank you, Mrs. MAISARAH, for a nice speech that you shared with us. Next, we move to our second panel, Mr. HANIWIJAYA. Can you share with us about how the participation of the student during online classes? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. HANIWIJAYA. The floor is yours.
Thank you again, Ifani, for the question. Okay, answer the question about participation of the student when online class. The student attendance was very unimpressive. This is because the student not active and not involved during the online class. Uh, this is maybe because the student's environment is not suitable or comfortable for them to join in the class, like a noisy sound from their family and other things. The student also don't have a spirit to study because they just sit in front the device for the whole day, while there is a lot of things to do instead of joining the class. If at school, absolutely there is no obstacle for the student to learn. As a teachers can do some fun activity to make student not bored, but now totally different. Next, the teacher also can see the participation the student when they not submit the task or exercise given. It's good for student that submit their tasks on time, and it shows that the parents also play a role in this situation. But for student that not submit their task, the parent must be alert to make sure the student submit their task. So not only the student, but parent also uh, taking care about their child to doing their responsibility as a student. I think that's all from me. Thank you. Back to moderator.
Thank you for your detailed explanation, Mr. HANIWIJAYA. You're such a truly teacher among the students. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back again to our smart third panel, which is Miss Aini. In the beginning, you have shared with us about the benefit of having online classes. So can you tell us what is your problems from the experience while joining the online classes? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Aini.
Thank you again for giving me another chance to speak. Okay, the problem that me as a student facing is right now difficult to communicate. For example, you want to communicate with your friends or teachers. You will have to call or chat and also need to wait for them to reply. Sometimes it happened to me because I need to wait another half an hour or more than that for them to reply. It is very difficult for me when I need the answer as soon as possible. That's also when you absent from the class because you feel sick. You need to contact your friends because you want to ask about homework or what they learned about that day. This is also the problem for you to finish your homework when your friends late for replying to you. The second is technology issues. This is the biggest problem for us who live in the city or the town because without a consistent internet connection, there can be a lack continuity in the learning. It will affect our performance in academic because we cannot hear most of the topic that teacher teach us because of poor connections. Sometimes it just lost connection just like that. That is the most frustrating for me. There's also time when we need to search article or journal for our assignment. I need to find a suitable place that have a good connections. This wastes a lot of time for me for that problem. Okay, the conclusion is as what most teaching method, online learning also has its own set of positive and negative. Whether it is effective or not it is up to yourself to decide. That's all for me. Thank you.
You are welcome, and thank you, Ms. Aini, for that wonderful talk. Although you had to go through hardships, but you still do your best and do not give up easily. Congratulations! Last but definitely not least, I would like to ask the last question to Madam Ethel about what is your initiative to help your children feeling comfortable and can join the online classes conducted by their teachers. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Madam Ethel.
Okay, thank you, Miss Anit, for giving me a chance. I think that all the parents always wanted the best for their children. So in this, during the pandemic, I provided and I always make sure that my children always feel comfortable and can join their classes that is being conducted by the teachers. Okay, one of the things that I prepare for my children is that I provided them the necessities or essential needs that they need for their online classes, such as laptops, smartphones, and of course the internet, which is Wi-Fi, for their own needs and for their own goods. This is one of the way for me to make sure that they can join the classes without any problems, especially regarding the internet connection. Providing them some nutritious meal is really important. This is because facing the gadgets for a long time, since morning until evening, and sometimes even the teachers conducted their classes at night, it is extremely exhausted physically and mentally. So by providing them the nutritious meals, we can see that they have the energy to join the class and can be more focused on what is being taught by the teachers. And This can make them more understand about the topic that is being discussed in the classes. As parents, as a parent, I always think that we need to do our best for our children, and we need to be more actively participated in this by helping them in their online classes during this pandemic. So I hope that my question can answer the my answer can question I can I hope that I can answer the question posed by Miss Anit just now. Thank you.
Yes, sure. And thank you for the marvelous speech, Madam Ethel. And prepare a nutritious meal for your kids every day is real. It's really attractive, healthy, and it will be so much fun if we can make it together with a family at home. All right. Thank you very much for all panelists for their meaningful and powerful talk. Very well, ladies and gentlemen. Now we come to question and answer sessions. Let me see the question that come from the audience. All right, we got one from our lecturer, Sir Zahrin. As a teacher, what kind of support do you offer to your student? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. HANIWIJAYA.
Okay, thank you, Miss Anis, for the question from audience. Alright, support to the student in online class. Uh, I think for now, the best support in online class for student is the moral support. Moral support can give the students motivation to continue joining their class actively, like give them some motivation or another spirit word and other things. And teacher and parents also can be cooperate in order to maintain their performance. It's really important since online class is still new, and it is just being practiced in our country since last year. I think just that's all for me, and thank you. I hope the answer can answer the question. Thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you, Mr. HANIWIJAYA, for answering the question. Next, let me see for the second question that's suitable to answer it, which is from Nurul Husna. Assalamualaikum and good evening, everyone. I would like to ask to Ms. Nur Aini about as a student, how do you manage your time, mental and physical health at the same time? You may answer the question now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you again for Miss Nurul Husna. Okay, as a student, how do I manage my time, mental and physical health at the? As a student, how do I manage my time, mental and physical health at the same time? First of all, I always prepare my own timetable so that I will miss any classes that were conducted by my teachers. Okay. This is because online classes during pandemic can be conducted anytime since it's flexible to everyone. All my homework I will do at night so that I can submit my exercise on the time. Regarding mental and physical health, it also important to stay positive and have a fit body. Of course, we cannot run away forever from stress, but we need to refrain ourselves from having it. Have a leisure time and do a simple exercise would be a great to maintain a good posture of yourself. And lastly, do not spend too much time on your gadget because it's not good for your eyes. That's all for me. I hope my answer will answer that question. Thank you.
You are welcome and thank you again, Ms. Nur Aini, for the great answer. So as a conclusion that I can conclude for this webinar is, we must continually in learning and adapting new norms, and please do not be shy to get expert help if you feel stressed when study or work from home. We have to believe every single thing that happens in life has wisdom behind it. Ladies and gentlemen, finally we come to the end of webinar. I would like to say thank you again for all the panelists for their powerful and meaningful talk. It was a pleasure to have you all with us, not to be forgotten. Thank you to audience for your active participation in this webinar. Hopefully, this webinar will be beneficial for everybody, and I hope you enjoyed the webinar as much as I did. Thank you for your time and stay safe, everyone. Goodbye.